Do you have a slap chop? Throw it away. I'm gonna show you the best way to cut an onion. I'm gonna show you the best way to cut an onion if you don't want bloody fingers. So many savory recipes call for onions, and it can be a little intimidating to know how to cut them. They're round, they roll around your cutting board. I'm here to show you the safest and best way to cut an onion. So we're going to start by cutting it in half and creating a flat surface for ourselves, which is easier to manipulate and a lot safer because this can roll around. I'm gonna stabilize the onion on the board with my hand. I'm gonna take my knife. I'm going to pinch right at the end of the blade before the hilt, so I have a secure grip on my knife. It gives me great balance. You see it's not like tipping either way. I can hold it with this pinch, and it lets me use my other hand to stabilize while I'm cutting. I'm not gonna cut it in half this way. That's gonna leave me with the root on one end and the flowering stem on the other. And the root staying together is actually what's gonna hold my onion together so I can cut it any way I want it. So now I have two beautiful halves of an onion. I'm gonna do a little trimming to make things easier, cutting off a little bit of this flowering stem end. Gonna go in my compost bowl. And I really want to leave this root intact, but it's nice and hairy and scraggly, so I can trim a little bit of that off. It's still intact, it's still holding the onion together, but this doesn't need to be on my board. I'm gonna do the same with the other half, trimming that flowering end. Now, the papers are even easier to remove. These are really good in stock, or they can be composted. There's some layers of paper, they're really easy to pull. Then you have a thicker layer of onion that doesn't want to come off. You can leave that on because it's perfectly good. So the first cut I'm gonna do is a dice, and there's a really easy way to do it. I'm going to orient the onion close to the edge of my board, and I'm gonna use one hand to stabilize it, and the other hand is gonna guide my knife. I'm gonna do a series of cuts. First, I'm gonna cut this way, and the amount of space I leave between each cut is just dependent on how small I want my onion to be. So first, I'll go this way, and then I'm gonna cut across the top before I cut my dice. So I'm stabilizing with my left hand because I'm a righty, and I'm going into the onion this way, working my way in, wiggling my knife as much as I need, and I wanna come pretty far into the onion, but not all the way through the root. Wiggling my knife. I'm gonna cut across, and I'm going close to the root, but not all the way through it because I wanna leave that root intact. I'm cutting all the way through. Down and all the way through. Then I can use my hand to kind of grab the onion and keep it together. Don't worry about these pieces sliding out. They'll be roughly the same size as your dice. So now what's gonna happen, using my hand to hold the onion, and I'm slicing down. And I get little pieces of onion that are already diced. Now, when I get to near the end and it's a little harder to stabilize, I just topple it over. I'm in charge of the onion. And then these ends, they're perfectly good. Just rotate your onion and slice. This works for cooking. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it's mostly even, and that's what's really important here because even cutting actually does lead to better cooking. No, I don't know how to juggle.
Take two.
Anytime one of our recipes calls for a thinly sliced onion, this is what we want. So again, I'm going to stabilize my onion on the board. I'm gonna cut through the root and the flowering end to create two halves. Now this one's gonna get a little different right away because I'm going to remove all of this root end. I'm gonna take this onion, you see these lines? They're my guides. Yeah. Knife, I'm putting it at an angle. Use my claw to stabilize the flat end of the onion, and I'm cutting down. But it's just cutting the onion. And you see I'm kind of letting my knife rock on the board a bit. That's because the knife is doing the work for me, and I'm letting it slip on the board. That's why we like cutting on wooden cutting boards actually. They're really friendly on the edge of a knife and they really let you glide. It's almost plush. Again, turn my onion when it gets harder to stabilize. It's like really simple. I think it's beautiful. Like, how beautiful are these slices? That is my sauté slice. Look at this. Look at this. With my third and final onion, I'm going to do a salad cut or a half moon cut. These are really great for eating raw because you're cutting against the grain of the onion, so it breaks down a lot easier in your mouth. I'm going to stabilize my onion, pinch my knife, cut through the root and the flowering end. Once again, I don't need the root. So with this onion, I'm going to cut against the grain of the onion, against these nice guidelines to create half moons. Really thin. The world is your onion. Half moon slice. This is great for a salad or sandwich if you're a raw onion person. Whew. Crying. I'm not crying, you're crying. Okay, we have a nice simple dice. This is perfect for a sofrito, any kind of sauté, the base of a sauce or a soup or a stew. A delicious, basic, everyday cut of an onion. This is my favorite slice, the most beautiful slice, the most elegant slice, the sauté slice. You can cut them as thin or as thick as you want, but if we call for a thinly sliced onion, go for these. And finally, the most beautiful, but it is great raw, the salad slice. It's nice and big, almost like a half moon. 3 ways to cut an onion, all pretty simple, all safe, all with uniform results, which means even cooking and delicious food. That's how to cut an onion.